Hey, Bob. Pleasure to see you. And looking forward to this chat. How are you?
Yeah, I'm jolly well indeed, thanks, Rob, and thank you for inviting me.
Oh, my pleasure. I did try to organize this a little while ago, and time runs away with you, doesn't it?
Well, I think that's it, and I'd rather, yeah, I don't know whether it was wishful thinking, but I, I rather hope that you'd forgotten about it.
No, how can I forget about you? Eh, eh,
Yeah, yeah,
We'll get going with this anyway. We'll start off with a quick fire round. Five easy questions to start. You know,
okay, yeah.
what's your favorite food?
I have to say it's a curry, and I would rather say Madras.
All right, so a hot curry is that, isn't it, a madras?
Oh, rather, yes,
Huh?
yes,
You're
yes.
braver than I am.
yeah,
Huh?
yeah, yeah,
Have you
yeah,
got a
yeah.
favorite film?
I have, and I watch it regularly. The Blues Brothers, absolutely terrific. And there's good blues music, a nice storyline, and I never tire of it.
All right. Then. Um, Most famous person that you've met?
Um, I don't know whether some people would have a different view on this. Uh, I don't know whether or not she'd be famous or infamous, but Margaret Thatcher.
All right. How did that come about?
Um, it was one day I was at work and she called in at a motorway cafe and she lost something and I found it. And then she said, um, what would you like as a gift? And I asked for a signed autograph, photograph, and it was delivered to the police station for me 2 days later.
Wow. So not a
Yeah.
knighthood.
No, but it's not everybody that appreciates when they see this signed photograph addressed to me from Margaret Thatcher when they come to my house and I say, yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you know. But
I think you
hey
might have
ho.
slightly. I think you might have slightly given it away as well. What was your day job?
Well, that was it. I first started as in engineering. I was a fitter in an aircraft factory. And then I passed a few exams, got into the drawing office. But then when I was 21, decided I wanted to join the police. And I was in the police for 32 years until my retirement in 2000.
Now, was that with the uniform all the way through, or did you change over?
No, I was in uniform all the way through, but had different roles in the police. Worked in prosecutions and did court work. I was in firearms for a while. Yeah, had a rural beat. Had five villages, and in fact, it was quite idyllic because um, Tatton Park that formed part of my beat. So, what a lovely place!
It sounds like you had a great time.
I did. And when I retired, I went working for Macclesfield Borough Council in the licensing department. So still dealing with pubs, clubs, taxis, and things like that. Yeah.
Mm, Excellent, excellent. Well, moving on from that,
Yeah.
Freemason. So, how
Yeah.
did you get into Freemasonry?
How did I get into Freemasonry? Well, I I used to go with a neighbour to the local conservative club, and when I was there, this is going back nearly 50 years, and got to know one or two of the chaps there, and then one day, after about a 3 or 4 year um, not knowing these chaps, they said, have you ever thought about joining Masonry? And I said I hadn't. And they said, well, have a little think about it and then come back to us. and that was it. So, and the rest, I suppose, is history.
Mm. Well, that's an interesting. Have a little think about it. It's very difficult to think about something that you don't know about, isn't it?
Well, yeah, you're perfectly right. But the chaps that were asking me this, I had known them for a number of years, and I thought, well, they're right decent sort of blokes, and I couldn't really go far wrong with knowing their home life, knowing their work ethic, and so I was perfectly at ease with that.
Mm. So you obviously joined Freemasonry. So how did you find it at first?
I found it quite different, and it was because it wasn't like the rugby club, it wasn't like the cricket club. And you had to wear a suit and a tie. And I suppose with wearing a suit and a tie at work and then swapping to wear a shirt and tie and a suit in my leisure time as well, instead of dressing down, I found that different. But it was nice having the social board, having a meal after a meeting and getting to know the chaps, because in my particular lodge there were farmers, yes, there was a couple of policemen, firemen, teacher, retired military officers, a mixed bag, and it was nice getting this eclectic mix of people.
So which lodge did you join initially?
I joined the Old Castle Lodge in Macclesfield, and have been with them. Well, I'm saying being with them ever since, because I was transferred from work and the children were growing up and ready for going to university. I resigned I joined in 1980. I resigned in 1994, and had something like a 21-year sabbatical, rejoining again in 2015, I suppose it was. Yeah. So heck of a sabbatical.
So how do you end up leaving and joining? How did that happen?
Well, as I said, I got transferred from work. I'd had quite a pleasant job doing court work at Macclesfield. I was on 9 to 5, weekends off. Lovely. And it was every night I was home. Then I got transferred, and still within the county, still within Cheshire, but on shift. Couldn't make the lodge nights, and if I was trying to get leave or time off, it wasn't always possible. So I was letting the lodge down. Children ready for going to university, the extra expense in that. They all did vocational subjects. So for the 3 children, we had to buy a car each for them, because after the first year they went a term in university, a term at hospital or teacher training, and just to get round the place. And so we had to buy a car each for them, tax and insure it. So it was very, very expensive. So as they say, masonry, family and work and come first. Yeah, first.
No, that's very true. So you had a 21-year. Did you say a 21-year break from?
I did. Did.
So,
yeah, quite some time. Well, and the way that it happened was rather surreal, because in sort of 2014, 2015, on our something like, dare I say, 5th visit to New Zealand, Rin always went under our own steam, hired a car and just went wherever you threw your hat, that was it. And stopped off in this small town called Kati Kati on the North Island, looking for some lunch. And walking towards me was a chap called Bill Rochester, who I worked with at Macclesfield Police Office. Bill Rochester was, at one time, he'd been my sergeant and he'd emigrated to New Zealand on his retirement. I didn't know this. I saw Bill, he saw me, and it was like, what are you doing here? And what you... Anyway, cutting a long story short, we told him we were looking for lunch. And he said, well, if you just hang on, I'll get my wife on the mobile and we'll both go, and the four of us will go for some lunch. I know a nice little cafe. And that's what we did. Then we went back to his bungalow, and believe it or not, he lived in Kati Kati, but the little street close that he lived in was called Grosvenor, and Grosvenor in Cheshire was synonymous. Yeah, and but Bill, he was a past master of Lodge of Unity 267 in Macclesfield, and we, Oldcastle, are their daughter lodge. So our paths crossed Masonically previously. And when we went to leave his bungalow, he said, how's about rejoining, Bob? Please join Masonry because, I know you liked it and you've been sadly missed. So I promised him that I would do. And then we were in Hanforth Dean at Marks and Sparks. And who did I see there but our treasurer from Lodge? And I said, Harry, how's about proposing me? So delighted, said he, and yes. So I rejoined.
That's such a lovely story because it's an unexpected sort of journey, isn't it?
Well, you know, the chances of meeting somebody halfway across the world, because if you go any further, you're coming back from New Zealand. Yeah. And to see Bill there, and yeah, it was quite amazing. Yeah, surreal.
So obviously you came back, you've rejoined.
Yeah.
How have you found it? How's your journey been since you've been back?
Hectic, because very hectic. When I came back, I just wanted 12 months to get my feet under the table again. And then I think I then went to senior warden, which, as you know, is the stepping stone to the chair. And then I was master for 4 years simultaneously, which was extremely hectic. Thrown into the pot was COVID, but you still got to try and keep everybody together during COVID, and Zoom meetings and just trying to see people. And one of the really pleasing things, certainly for me, is that our lodge, we've actually, since COVID and during COVID, we have increased our membership. So that is contrary to, I think, a number of lodges. Yes. So it's been quite heartening.
So obviously quite a rewarding journey that you've been on.
Yes. My hair's definitely gone a lot whiter.
Yeah. But saying on that journey, you've ended up with an acting role within Cheshire.
Well, yes, I have. It was most unexpected, and with me being in the police for that many number of years, when a senior person from the organisation phoned up, I was always in trouble for something. Don't go to your office, your police station tomorrow. Come to headquarters and ready for a bit of a telling off. And I was down the garden this particular day. I think it was last May, and Edna, my wife, she had the hand phone, from the landline, and said, "Bob, Simon Palfreyman's on the phone for you." What her words exactly were, "What have you done now?" Just thinking exactly what I'd done at work. What have you done now, Bob? So, point being, I couldn't remember what I'd done. And then, out of the blue, he said, "Well, if you were offered an acting rank, would you accept it?" And I thought, wow, where's that come from? Because generally speaking, I wouldn't have expected to have any provincial rank until 6 years after I came out of the chair. Notwithstanding I'd been in for 4 years, but it still came 3 years early, which was, well, I thought it was quite remarkable and unexpected.
I think that's one of the pleasures of that happening, is you don't expect it.
Yes.
But it happens, and it's a wonderful feeling.
It is, and on my journey, rather than just having lodges at Macclesfield and visiting all the lodges in Macclesfield, which I do, I've managed to meet such lovely people and across the province. I have to say, other than working, I'd never socialised in places like Birkenhead and Wallasey and Neston, and it's been, yes, a lovely journey, and going to these different Masonic halls. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Absolutely.
Well, you're only halfway through that journey in the acting role.
Yes. Yeah,
so you must be looking forward to the next half of it.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the calendar's getting, it's getting booked up already. Yes. Well, I wouldn't have met you, would I, Rob?
Well, that's very true, because I can remember standing in the pub on that first day of the source.
Yes.
All being there and having a drink together, and wondering where we were going to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And it very much is fun. Yeah.
It is fun. And I really do. I have enjoyed it, and shall continue until I think it's next September, when I hand over to my successor.
Very much so. We all do that. Yeah?
Yes.
But I think what's amazing about this journey is that if you hadn't have gone to New Zealand, who knows what would have happened? Yeah.
Well, I think I'd have just put it on a back burner, because I did miss it. I have to say, I did miss Masonry when I was out of it, but the longer it went on, I suppose I got more used to not being in it. But when I promised Bill, it was a matter of, well, I've made a promise, get cracking and see it through. But it was that it was obviously meant to happen.
Very much so. Now, before we round this off, I was just wondering, what advice would you give to the new members that are joining Freemasonry? Yeah.
What advice would I give? Well, I would think, just look at your proposer and think what he what sort of man is he, um, and his ethics, and look to him for advice. I think you would probably know. I'm waffling here now. Yeah, I think you might have to cut this bit out, Rob.
I don't think we have to. I think what you're trying to get across is enjoy it, you know, because Freemasonry is fun.
Well, it is, and you can really let your hair down in the social board and have a nice meal, enjoy it with your friends, and you get to know people, because if you do little things like collecting raffle money, and then you get to know who they are, uh, and it gets you into the lodge, and the ethic easier, and you feel more comfortable.
Very much engage within the lodge and enjoy that. I think that's a key thing. On that note, we will wind down a little bit and we finish with a few easy questions. Right?
Okay.
Your best holiday?
Well, since retirement, we have been to British Columbia, I think 3 times. They've been rather nice, but I think I have to say it is New Zealand. We've been 5 or 6 times there, and in retirement, I've been able to go for 8 weeks. So it's just been jolly nice holidays and relaxing. And the only problem is, I suppose, that you're nearly a day in the air. So we've always broken it up and stayed in perhaps Singapore for 3 days, and similarly on the way home, and or Hong Kong, and stay there for a few days. Yeah.
So, one thing most people don't know about you: have you got a hidden talent?
I've not got a hidden talent, I don't think. I used to be quite good at cricket, but no. I think what most people don't know about me is that I really love ballet, being a copper, and I used to get ribbed if they found out. Why are you going to ballet? But yes, I really do love ballet and opera, which sometimes is thought of a little strange.
Now, have you got a moment that you look back on and think, I was very proud of that? Have you got a proud moment?
Well, yes. We have 3 children, and the eldest, Victoria, she was the first in our family on either side, my mother's and my father's, to go to university. So it was very pleasing when she graduated. And similarly, when Alexander and James graduated, extremely proud. And unfortunately, they don't live close. They're all in this country, but they live away. The nearest one is in Hereford, so you can't pop round for a cup of tea.
I think that's one of the natural things with families, is that they do sort of fly the nest, you know?
Oh yes. But they're very independent, and they've got their own families, and yeah, that's the way we brought them up. Yeah,
very much so.
To be independent. Yes.
Final question: have you got a favourite drink?
I have to say, and Edna, she supplies it for me, a malt whiskey. And when the bottle's going down, she can see, and then she'll, yeah, she'll get it. An Isla, a smoky one. Yes,
But I have to admit, I thought that might be the question because just over your left shoulder, I can see the canister of a whiskey bottle. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because I like me whiskey as well, so that just caught me eye, that one.
Yeah. Good.
Bob, on that note, it has been a pleasure talking to you, and it's been a pleasure sharing your story. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. I hope I've made sense.